A lot of women don't like to answer this. Does body count matter?
You know, from like a male point of view, I could pretty much answer this like in two different ways. Do I think most guys give a shit about body count when it comes to just like casual hooking up? Absolutely not. I can't imagine a guy saying, damn, she was hot. You know what? I got along with her, but I didn't sleep with her because I found out her body count was high. Like from that point of view, I don't think body count doesn't matter at all. When guys complain about or talk about body count, they're referring to when it gets to the point where you're committing to a woman as your girlfriend or wife, that's when it matters. Because throughout history, I don't think there's ever been a society that like looked at a woman with a high body count as a respectable thing to do, right? No matter what country you were to go to, like people generally, the consensus is that if a woman has a high body count, I won't say the words, but you could imagine there's different slang that goes along with it, right? Because it's generally understood that women that sleep around, it's like a low respect, dirty thing to do, right?
Big time. I agree. I mean, there's guys that really don't care, but ladies care about their body count. They don't want it spreading that they have a high body count. You know, they may have a low body count, they may have a high body count, but let's face it, come on. In the West, now in 2023, women have high body counts. They're higher than ever before because the options have been endless. They've gotten so many opportunities due to where we are in society nowadays.
And you know why I think the body counts are getting higher and higher is because, again, we live during a time where there's no accountability for it. Like this is, come to think of it, probably the first time in history where women can sleep with 100 guys and people are just like, whatever. Like, you know, go back even like 15 years ago. And it wasn't accepted, you know. And in the earlier you go back in time, it wasn't accepted at all, you know, for that to happen. And I think, because you mentioned this before, I think women absolutely understand that having a high body count is a negative thing. You know what I mean? When women argue, they usually call each other certain words, right?
Yep.
You get my point. So
we'll avoid saying them here.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to get banned, canceled, or anything like that.
We're trying to keep it cool. We're trying to keep it cool.
Keep it PG-13.
Trying to say our message here.
But I think women absolutely understand that having a high body count, like there's a reason why women don't go around, showing off about how many guys they slept with. Guys tend to do that. Women will never go around and say, hey, I slept with 100 guys. Like they keep it a secret. They hold back how many guys. Like there's like a saying that when a woman tells you how many guys she slept with, multiply it by 3. And when a man tells you how many women he slept with, divide it by 3, something like that. I don't know the exact thing, but generally women tend to like hide how many men they slept with because they know.
Let's dive into that.
Yeah.
Why do women lie about their body count? Why do women hide their body count? What's more specific that we can say about that?
I think it's because they know that people will judge them based on, which brings up a good point, right? Like there is no exact number. Like everybody probably has their own version. Like if a woman was to tell you, I slept with 25 guys. That to me, like at a certain, like, you know, if a woman's 30 years old, 25 I think is acceptable. I think where it becomes a problem is like when it's 50 or plus.
So that, you know what I mean? That image of being looked at as, oh, I've been with so many men.
Yeah, because they know, like I said, they know that like, and again, it's going to depend because like if you ask an 18-year-old girl and she says she slept with 3 guys, you know, and then you ask like a 40-year-old woman, she might tell you she slept with 40 guys, right? It depends on her age and where she is in her life. But I think generally they know that if it's a high number, that they're going to be judged for it.
Well, that's one thing with especially older women. That's why guys prefer younger women because they don't have a body count as high as an older woman would have. I mean, you're looking at a girl that's 19, 20, 21, 22 versus a girl or woman that's 35, 36, 37, who's more likely to have the higher body count?
And you know, the tricky thing about this is that as guys, we will never truly know their body count. You kind of have to gauge it based on how the woman acts, dresses, who she hangs around, right? Like usually when we talk about a body count, we talk about specific numbers, 30, 50, 100. But if you're talking to a woman, she's never going to tell you, there isn't like a Carfax report where you could pull up how many guys she slept with. So you kind of have to gauge it based on how she acts and stuff like that. So that's why, like, I've heard other podcasts talk about this topic, and they'll ask, like, a woman will ask the guy, like, well, what's like a high number for you? It's hard to say, right? It's more like you have to gauge it based on how she acts. But if she seems like somebody that sleeps around, you'll sleep with her casually, but you're not going to take it seriously.
In a way, we can say that one is way too much right there.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, I think most guys aren't going to care how many guys she slept with, like if it's just a casual thing. But like the moment they get the sense that she sleeps around, they're not going to take it seriously. Who wants to commit to a woman that has that type of reputation?
Yeah. Now, for relationships purposes, looking towards a woman, again, we're sticking on a woman and her body count. If you ask her what her body count is and she hides it, she lies about it, you can't really get a grasp on what that body count is or what it could be. Do you take that woman serious in a relationship?
If she doesn't tell you?
If she doesn't tell you, if she gives you some runaround, if she lies about it, if she hides it.
I think if I got the sense that she was being secretive about it, it would definitely be like a red flag for me, and I would start to kind of like wonder, like, you know, what's going on here. Because I think women generally will never tell you the exact number. But if she tries to change the subject or like hide it altogether or really exaggerate like how few it is, then I would be like, yeah, you know. I think for the most part you could kind of tell, you know. I mean, some women are probably better at hiding it than others, but I think generally you could tell, like, by her life, like, if she sleeps around or not.
Yeah, I mean, it'll negatively affect the potential start of a relationship, or if you're already in the relationship and you find out during that time, I think it could go sour as well.
You know, and another thing worth mentioning, right? Why does body count matter? If she has an extremely high body count, you know, 100 plus, that proves to you by her actions that she doesn't believe in, she's not a monogamous person. She's more likely to cheat. There's chances that she has multiple guys like that she's talking to at the time. How can you get involved with somebody like that? And, you know, people might change a little bit with age and time, but people don't change. Like if she was like that when she was 25, she's going to be like that when she's 35. She's going to be like that when she's 45, you know?
Now, looking towards men, because I know we were talking about women here. Let's go on the other side. Well, we were talking about body count in general. So on the men's perspective, on the men's side, if men have high body counts, what does that show women?
Well, right out the gate.
What impression does that give women?
Right out the gate, it's far easier for women to sleep around than it is for men to sleep around. Like, I think when people discuss that topic, they make it seem like, oh, well, men are dogs too. It's very difficult. Like, it's a completely different scenario for men because it's not easy to sleep around at all. You know what I mean? So to your point, like, what does it mean if a guy has a high body count? That means he's doing something right, because for a man to sleep around like that, he either has to be very good looking, he has to be very attractive, or if he's not attractive, he at least has to be like successful or famous, or there has to be something there. Men just don't have the luxury of just sleeping around. It's not a thing. It's never been a thing.
I can say that, and I can also say that women look at it as lack of commitment, promiscuity, and all that. But when men have higher body counts, it's more like he's confident, he's experienced, he knows what he's doing. And women should look at that as a good thing. Shouldn't look at it on the negative side. Should look at it as a good thing, because men are bringing experience, and he knows what he's bringing. She should know what he's bringing to the table based off of that.
It's funny because we just did a clip before where we talked about how like women reward toxic behavior and then complain about it. I think this is kind of like one of those things where women complain about guys that have like that sleep around. I don't think they call it high body count. I think they call them like dogs, right? Like that they cheated, whatever.
Players.
But let's be real. Like, no woman wants a guy that has no experience. No woman wants a guy that's like a virgin, because right off the bat, she's going to be like, this guy's like a nerd or something, or he's like a 40-year-old virgin or something like that. So when they see that a guy's pre-selected, it's a powerful, women hate hearing this, and I don't know why, that they're all like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. It's absolutely true. This is like actually like been studied and like documented that women are more attracted when a man is pre-selected.
Big time. Big time.
And the way it tends to go is like, think about it, right? How does a guy get to a point where he has such a high body count to begin with? Like, you have to have something going for yourself. It's unheard of that a guy's a loser and slept with 100 women.
You have to know your way with women. to get to
And
that
that's
point.
another thing. Good point. Good point. You have to be good with women to begin with. Because look, let's be real. You could be successful and be like nerdy and awkward, and like you'll still strike out with women because like you just don't know how to talk to them. So if a guy has a high body count, that tells you that he's good with women, and women are going to pick up on that. And it's, if anything, it's going to just, increase the attraction level. So,
And to end it here, ladies, you don't want an amateur. So having somebody that's experienced is a plus.
they complain about it, but let's be real. Like they're gonna. What do we always say in this podcast? That like 80% of the women go for 20% of the guys, and 20% of the guys are sleeping with all the women.
Big time.
So there you go.